Dallas, Phoenix. There we go. All right. Now it looks like we're live. And we'll wait. Now watch, there's going to be no bubbles popping up. So how's the weather over there been? Cold?
Cold. It's okay. Hold on. The exact temperature is -9 Celsius. Mm,
Oh, brother. Do you have a fireplace, Lee?
no, no, no. I
No?
heat by electricity. No, electrical heating, and thank God that the electricity stays on, and we're good. I would love a fireplace, but it's not my house.
Wow.
I rent it. So
Oh, okay. Okay, here today was what, 64 with a little bit of a breeze, and we're freezing. So I have my nerve to say I'm
I'll take
freezing when
64.
you're sitting in
I'll take 64. Not a problem.
that. Well, I always crack up because it gets like 50 degrees here and we're dying, but you see all the Canadian people that are visiting Las Vegas and they're
Hmm.
walking around in shorts and tank tops. They're mad because the pools are closed. It's amazing. And you got to figure that they come from those freezing below temperatures.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I don't think I could live at all with that. And so says that we are live. I just gotta check it and
We
make
have.
sure that we're.
I'm
Are
snooping
we
on
good?
my phone, so if anybody sees what I'm looking at, I can see us on the phone.
Oh, okay. So did you tell all your people you were going to be on there too tonight?
I did, and I just shared the page the audio on my page, so it's going to go live there as well. And
Oh,
so we're up to 3 people. Woo ha!
whoa, I love it. And hello to you. And to all those that are coming aboard, I just want to say thank you for joining us this evening. We want to do a good topic today with Mama D, my special guest, and I do thank you for joining me.
My
All the way
pleasure.
from Canada. Should I say all the way from freezing Canada?
Yes, chilly Quebec.
Oh, one of these days I'll make it out there. Then we can go to lunch. How's that?
Make it in the summertime.
Man, what's the temperatures in the summertime?
Not as hot, not as hot as Vegas, but like your winters are our summer, we'll say.
Okay. So what's the highest that the temperature gets?
I think because we work in Celsius, not Fahrenheit, so it's about 25, 30 Celsius is like balmy, so it's 360, be about 90.
Okay.
To a rough calculation, this is the way my Fahrenheit brain works because I was raised on Fahrenheit, but you double whatever the positive is. So if it's 20 degrees Celsius, double it and add 30. That's roughly about what it is in Fahrenheit.
I would
So that
never.
would be about 70-ish.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So like I'll take that.
Yeah.
Right now we're like -9, I think I said. Like, yeah.
Have you come out to Vegas before? Have you been out here?
No. We have a bunch of friends. One have a running joke that we're going to have a meet and greet in Vegas with an oxygen filled room because there's so much of us are going to be so full of hot air and talking all the time. We're going to need the extra oxygen.
Love it. I love it. So you have what, Windsor Casino out there?
Yes, there's the Windsor Casino in Ontario. We have the Ganawagi Casino on the reservation. There's a couple around.
Yeah, is Windsor the biggest?
I don't know. There is one. There is one in Quebec because Windsor is Ontario. I'm in Quebec.
Okay.
So there is another casino in Quebec, but it's run by the Quebec Lottery Corporation. Blah blah woof woof.
So when you think of Windsor all the time, I always think of this gigantic castle like the Queen.
That would be so
Yeah,
nice.
there's a casino on the floor with a buffet, like a really good buffet.
Okay, I'm getting hungry now. Don't do that to me.
I know. Okay, so before we get started, I do want to shout out to a couple of communities. I want to say hello to my Down syndrome community. Love you guys. Want to say hello to all my UK friends, Netherlands, Switzerland, Canadian, German, Russian, Spain, the reason why I'm giving all these shout outs is because, Darlene, guess what?
What?
My little book went global.
Yes. And it's
Yes.
good. It's good. If nobody has read it, I'm gonna start off, okay? But if nobody has read it, I am at what, chapter 17. I'm about to start chapter 17. It is good.
All right. Thank you. We'll get a little bit more on that info from
Mhm.
you later. I do want to say a special shout out to Sharon Oren, who has a radio show in Reno. Also, he's going to have my book on and give me a review on his show. To Talk Up Talks with Brian in Las Vegas. Yes, I do look forward to being on in May, and thank you so much for getting in touch with me. Also, to all our other friends that are joining. Now, with Mama D, I became an instant fan because she's such a big speaker. She's so funny. But yet we're going to talk about something a little serious and a little touchy. Now, Darlene, I have to tell you that
Mhm.
I guess this is still a touchy subject with people because I caught a lot of backflack for it. I got
Well, guess what? Um, everybody has a view on okay, the topic is suicide awareness and prevention.
correct.
And when I was growing up, I used to think that it was a selfish decision because people never used to think about those that were left behind.
Right.
And I learned through time that it is a decision that's not lightly taken. And it's something that everybody has a hard time talking about, dealing with it. And so many people do it and just don't talk about it. Lost a friend a while, just a few months back. I never got to meet him. He was this sweetie. He was on my show. He was a sweetheart. You could reach out to him and he would help you. But he was hurting so much inside. He was an police officer, firefighter. He did a lot of things that the PTSD kind of sort of got to him. He'd been shot like 5 times, I think, and
Mm,
a lot
goodness.
of this stuff. But the hurt was too much. So he chose to take his life, but I put it as he chose his way out.
Right.
Now,
The
my beliefs are that everybody is here for a specific reason, and no matter how much we want to, the time that we leave is the time that we have chosen before we got here. Even if to somebody else, suicide is like, oh my God, that before we come here, that was a decision we made. It's not a decision made easily. And a lot of people don't talk about it, which is true. But there's a lot of people who are going through it, went through it, have attempted it, and then I have to admit, when I was a teenager, I was like bullied and whatnot. And I thought about it. I did think about it, but as I always say, I wasn't brave enough to go go home yet.
right,
You know.
right. And it's funny because suicide attempts are 20 times more frequent than completed suicides.
Hmm. Believe me.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
And it's the people that, yeah, well, you have to look at it this way. When it's an older person, and I shouldn't even say this. I should just probably put it this way. The statistics were high. Any kind of statistic for this is just one too many.
Yes.
It is just one too many, basically.
But the
Is
thing is, some people just need to have someone to talk to. The gentleman who this event is sort of was the trigger to make it happen. There was nothing. He made sure that he did it where nobody could stop him. He had lived a long life, but and he still had a lot more in him. I mean, he still owes me a bottle of Kentucky bourbon. I will not touch Kentucky bourbon because he was the one who promised to give it to me, so I won't touch it. You
right,
know, um, but he made sure that nobody could do anything about it.
wow,
He really that was his it was his choice. It was his time. So that was
right,
his decision. I not saying that everyone's going to agree with his decision, You know, those of us who loved him dearly wish that, we could have done something to stop it, but there was nothing we could do. I have another friend, Tim Miley, an amazing, amazing dude. He was like that far from doing it when his dog, he had saved he had got a rescue dog, and this dog came to him when he was seriously thinking about it. He was like down to his last wits end, and the dog just sort of put his head on his paws, on his hand, and just sort of like reminded him, "Hey, you have to be here for me to save me." It was a joint effort, and they were together a long time. He wrote a book about it. He's got a radio show as well. He does fundraisers now for animal shelters, no-kill animal shelters, all because of Murray. Murray was like an amazing, and he's going to be at this event. The event that I'm talking about is a suicide awareness at Ashmore Estates in Ashmore, Illinois, on April 17th, 18th, and 19th. There are going to be, and I'm not sure there's going to be any investigations because a lot of it is the paranormal community, but there are going to be, okay, it's being put on by Paranormal Mysteries, a great team of people that I know, and Rob and Terry, who own Ashmore Estates. There's going to be gallery readings, ITC box sessions, which I have no idea what that is. Tarot readings. There will be people there for anybody who wants to talk, anybody who needs just someone to listen to them and get past that. Then yeah, Bobby Butterfield, on February 1st, it will mark 1 year anniversary of my niece Haley's suicide. She was 15 and being bullied got to be too much. See, this is things like this that I want, and we need to spotlight it. You have my condolences, my sympathies, and that she's not gone. She's just no longer in pain.
And the point with that is with the teenagers, not meaning to cut you off, but again, this is such a serious topic. Again, it's the second leading cause of death amongst teenagers from 10 years old to 24. And it is because of the bullying.
Yep.
Is one of the big things. The hopelessness, homeless kids that are put into the system, that are taken away from their parents. They have that, where am I going to go from here? No one pays attention. Basically, I wish that there are programs that are out there but I think more people, in my opinion, are so good at turning an eye.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not there, if it's not there, then it disappears, and it's really not. It really isn't, because to be that young at 10 years old floors me.
Yep. And there are younger. It has been. I have seen articles about that. There was younger children than that. Again, it's the bullying, and it's hard to say you can, but you shouldn't blame the bully, because the person who is doing the bullying, 9 out of 10 times they're being bullied at home. They're being bullied somehow. The only way that they can try and get their power is to do it to somebody else. But this is the biggest thing, is like, everybody, especially kids, need to have someone that they can talk to, that this person will listen to them and not tell them, oh, don't do that. Just, sit there and listen. And this is something that a lot of people don't do. They're just like, a lot of people think that it's like, okay, I was raised a Catholic, I was baptized and had all that fun stuff that goes along with it. And that was a sin. And I was like, no, it's not, and I have, I mean, it's a hard situation to deal with. It's a hard topic to deal with, but it's something that needs to be talked about. Go ahead.
Yeah, if we think back, I know for me, I can think back about when I was in school, when I was in middle school, and the kids, there were several kids that were bullied then.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're that young and you're around, you don't really pay attention to it. It's like now, taking a walk in their shoes, putting myself in that kid's shoes. He could have been or she could have been abused at home.
Yep.
They were usually the kids that came to school dirty. They were probably hungry. They probably, they didn't have no parents probably at home. Now it's like I feel so bad, and it's made me think, gosh, I wish I could go back and just put my arms around them and say, I'll listen, I'll talk to you, And even for adults, the elderly adults, and even for middle-aged adults, for everybody, to listen is the biggest key, I think, that you
Exactly.
can give them.
Yeah. But the thing is, a
Just
lot of
that,
people, a lot of people
by
will listen, but they won't hear. Because you have to get past the words sometimes, because in the words, in mix between the words, you can hear the pain, and you have to help them with that. You're not going to help them saying, "Look, just don't do it,
right.
get over it, grow up, stop whatever, because we have, I'm not sure how old you are, but I believe you're younger than me. But I was brought up saying, okay, boys don't cry. They got to man up. It's like, dude, seriously, cry. I think there's nothing more sexy than a man that can cry. But that's my, you know, you
Right.
have to let people feel.
I cried at the
There you
I
go.
was
See,
watching
there,
Days of Our
that's
Lives, and
Phoebe.
I cried with one of the
Oh, don't
characters.
even.
That's right. I cry with
But the
movies
thing is,
all the time. I can watch Steel Magnolias and still I've seen it 100 times, and I still cry with that movie.
yeah, but that's the thing is people have to be allowed to feel their emotions, and others have to be able to listen. You have to be able to talk. Everybody has a story. Everybody wants to be heard one way or another. And some people just need a little bit more TLC, and it's more of the listening part, and we don't do that.
But
So
the thing
this
is,
on
too, if we were all on the same page as parents, if we were all on the same page as adults, this wouldn't be happening, but we're not.
yeah,
There's a lot of people that are caught up in life situations. We don't have the luxury that they had, that parents or couples had 50 years ago, where it was a one income family and you
oh
had the
god, yeah.
mom who stayed home.
Mhm.
Now you have single parents who are working 2 and 3 jobs. They're trying to raise their children and trying to find time. So sometimes, the kids get lost. Sometimes the parent gets lost.
Yeah.
And the frustration is so overwhelming, and so, I the finger, everybody wants to point a finger at that parent and say, because of you, your kid's this way. Well, take a look at the situation. I can't do that anymore.
No.
I sad to say, when I was younger, I used to be one of those people that used to point a finger, and you
We
just
all do
can't.
until we learn what's going on, until we live through the things that we've lived through. That's when we'll learn to understand people, you know. And I will wait. I won't. I don't. I try. No, I can't say I don't because everybody does. I try not to judge people, but a lot of my judgments I keep to myself because it's not my opinion is my opinion. Just because if I sit there, no, it's not true. Okay, if I sit there and go, I don't really like his hair, but I'm not going to tell you because it's the stash that George likes. There we go.
Is that what it is?
There you go. We get the porn
So
stash going on, but you have to think before you
get it
speak
down in the
sometimes.
form of that. I want you to
Mm.
know that I was trimming it today because you were a special guest, so I thought I better look good
There you
for
go.
you. So I was as
I
I
got
had the
the
mirror and
stash.
I was trimming, right. I'm thinking, no, this is my porn stash.
You can't let it go. Can't let it go. There you go.
That is so hilarious. When I say that I caught a lot of flack from my followers, my
Mhm.
some of the groups that I'm in, it amazed me because how much people will turn an eye
Mm.
quickly, and
Because they're
to
afraid.
it's fear. Once we get over that fear,
Yep. You know,
It's
and you know how people always say, "Oh, if you could eliminate one thing in this world, what would it be?" And my thing would be irrational fear, not just fear altogether, because certain fears are rational. You see a giant bear coming at you, it's fear that's gonna make you haul ass and run. Excuse my language, but haul your butt and run. But irrational fear of not understanding people, not understanding something. Take the time to learn, to listen, to get to know something about, you know, it's like, oh my God, people go, oh, Wiccan, oh, that's a witch. They're going to be, cast the evil spell on me. It's like, dude, it just depends on how it's spelled, but sometimes it could be spelled with a B and don't, it's like, but you have to learn about something before you can make a judgment call to it, and
exactly.
this has been a taboo. The word suicide has been a taboo for, since people used to say, "Oh, he just passed in sleep." If they could get away with hiding how people died, people will. It's like, "Oh
Yeah,
no," it's like, I know my friend committed suicide. There's no doubt, but I believe that he chose his way out, and that's the way I tend to look at it, because he didn't do it to do anything against anybody else. That was his choice. He wanted to relieve the pain. There was nothing that anybody could have done or said. 'Cause hindsight is 2020 is like, could I have done this? Could I have said that? And there are quite a few friends that fight the urge to say, what could I have done? There's nothing. If they really want to do it, they're going to do it. Nothing you can say or do, you know. But if they're like on the edge and not sure, trust me, you just sit there and listen and make it something that it's not embarrassing to talk about.
what's like the along the lines. I don't know if you remember Dr. Kevorkian. Remember Dr. Kevorkian? Do you know who Dr. Kevorkian is? Okay,
Yes.
and he would go and help them with their suicides. But when you think about it, and he got so much flack for that too, because
Mhm.
they said he was killing people. No, he was assisting them. When
Yeah.
I don't know, putting myself in those patients' position, I think if I was, terminally ill, I'd probably want to do the same thing. Do I
Mhm.
want to be in pain? I would think about it. I'm not saying that's what I'm going to do. I'm just saying,
Oh,
I
yeah.
would definitely think about it. Um,
Oh, yeah.
they want to be the one that chooses, not let the disease or whatever's how going to kill
Exactly.
them.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
And the thing is, people know, like people who have illnesses. I'm going to use my dad as an example. My dad was a healthy man, except he had Alzheimer's, and it took him away. But he knew what was happening. So at one point, he asked me, not gonna say how, but he asked me to help him out. And I said, you know what, Daddy, it may be selfish, but I can't let you go that way. I won't do that. I want you here. I need you here longer. I lost my father before I lost the physical person, you know, and what I would still go to visit him, and he thought I was the greatest thing since sliced bread because I was a lovely redheaded lady who had a baby with his child with his name on it. My youngest son, I gave him my father's name. His middle name is my father's name.
oh,
So my father used to think that was, the greatest thing in the world. Wow, this woman brings me this baby's got my name. Wow, I don't know who she is, but holy cow. And I I I mourned my father when he no longer remembered who I was, but I mourned the man when he finally died. If I had given in to his request, he never would have met his grandson. He would never have met his namesake, even though he didn't know who he was at the time. You know, I can remember somebody saying, "You know what? If I get that far along, I'm gonna take my cigarettes and go in the woods and just die peacefully and not have anybody be a burden to anybody." That was just talk. But when the person's time came, they fought to stay here. And I said, "You know what?" I said, "Stop fighting. Your fighting is not doing us any good or you any good. So it's time." You have to kind of give these people permission to pass.
yeah,
And it's kind of like the same thing when they decide to take their own lives. They decide, this is it. I'm done. I can't take the pain. I can't take the whatever. I'm going. You have to abide. You don't have a choice. You have to abide their decision. You have to stand by them. You can't, because some people it's just like, oh my God, I don't want to say his name anymore because he took his life. Dude, seriously? He did nothing wrong to you. It was a choice that he made.
We're at different times too. We're in,
Yeah.
we're these are different times where you can say these things now.
Hmm.
And 50 years ago was taboo
Yep.
to say that. Again, with going back on the fear of people, hearing the word suicide. If you think back to, remember when AIDS started to come around, people were
Mhm.
fear of that. There was a fear of this. There was a fear of that. And I think now, these, as much as I want to get mad at millennials, but they're really bringing a lot of topics to surface to open everybody's eyes, because this is how they were brought up.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so I'm glad that we're starting to see a lot more things like this brought to the table and out in the open.
Mhm.
And because the more that people are aware of this, the statistics will go down, because to me, that again, the statistics are too high for this,
Yeah.
or
And
are
both
too high
both
for
the
this.
States and Canada are coming up with a 3-digit suicide hotline. I think the States already has one, and we're going through all the because you have to get the government involved, you have to get the government of each province, and you have to get the telephone companies. Or I think it's 988 or 899, something. I can't remember. I actually saw it
So
today as an advertisement.
988 is not working yet.
Okay.
Still working on putting that up, because that's going to
Yeah.
be, I guess, a global thing.
Yes. It has to be. It has to be. It seriously has to be because I will post things about suicide prevention and awareness, but I'll have to post them from Canada, from Quebec, because I'm from Quebec, so it has to be the French version as well, and then from the US. So why not make it as simple as hello 911 is in Canada and US. All North America is 911. The UK. I love my
I
family in
agree.
the UK. I think theirs is 999, but it's three simple digits. There was a gentleman the show that I was listening to about the suicide prevention and awareness. The guy said, when you're in that moment, you cannot think of all those 1-800 blah 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 blah. Simple enough, 3 digits, get it over with. Talk to somebody, have somebody there to talk to. And Bobby Butterfield in the chat room said, the shoulda, coulda, woulda will drive you to distraction and it will paralyze your life. And it's true. When you try and sit there, if I'd have done this, if I'd have done that, it make people crazy. You know, do what you do. You treat everybody the same way with as much respect. And I don't care. And I have this thing. I don't care if you don't respect me. It doesn't matter to me whether you respect me or not. I will respect you because I treat people the way I want to be treated. If you don't like me, it's your choice, not mine. You know.
So this
But
is how I feel, because when I told you earlier that I got a lot of back flack from
mhm,
some people that were following me in some of the groups, I'm a little, I like to keep my toe in the water per se,
mhm,
and be a little controversial and still like to stir the pot. All I can say, because if they're listening, is that when the heat gets too hot in the kitchen, go to another room where it's cooler.
there you
So
go.
this
Exactly.
is for you, and so I respect that you bowed out, but a lot of them have something to say about it. Let them eat cake. That's all I can
And the
say,
thing is, you
and because
can't
this
stop
isn't the
them from
first time
talking.
that they're going to get.
Yeah, you can't stop them
No,
from giving their piece
no.
because that then you're shutting somebody down. You're not listening to let for me, I let people talk. When Mama D first came on Facebook, I'm all about angels. Angels and butterflies, if you can tell by butterflies. But I'm all about angels. And I used to post things that I would choose at the moment depending on what the connection was, whether it was a male or female, how I spoke about it. And this one time I said it was an angel, and I gave it I think it was Angel Gabriel. And at the moment, it felt like a she. Well, somebody came back to me and said to me I was a devil worshiper and blah 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 because angels are all men. I was like, dude, seriously, angels are non-sexual beings. It's whatever you feel at the time, what the vibe that they give you. And he kind of went off on a tirade, and I let him go. I let him have his airtime because he needed to have that. He needed to be able
There's
to
always
talk.
going to be somebody out there.
Exactly.
Again, being a writer, you try not to offend. You really do try not to offend, but there's going to be that one person that's
Yep.
going to be offended with which what you write. It's just up to you to stand behind your work and what you believe in. And again, with going back, I'm going to tell you a funny story. So when we were talking about there should be a 3-digit code like
Mm-hmm.
911, and when my kids were little, I have a son and a daughter. When my kids were little, they were being taught in their little Head Start class how to dial 911.
Mm-hmm.
Well, being a working dad, I worked graveyard. So I would go to work, 10 o'clock at night, come home at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be asleep. My ex-wife at that time, she would get up and get the kids ready and whatever. What one point in time, apparently, um, she had to go do an errand, and because I was asleep, she told my daughter, "Sit and watch cartoons. I'll be right back."
Mm-hmm.
So there was no harm done. I didn't know I was knocked out to the world. I was sleeping. I woke up to 3 police officers going through my bedroom, woke me up out of bed. I must have looked like an alcoholic parent who was asleep in the middle of the day.
Oh my
And I
God.
sat up, but here's the funny thing. I had on a pair of holy sweats on for pajamas. The ones that just have 3 threads and you're still hanging on to them for
There you
dear life.
go. You're thinking that they were my lucky draws.
Right? And I wake up, I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? They're like, they looked at me, they flashed their lights in my face, they went through my bathroom, they went through everything. And I got up and I put a robe on, and my daughter's on the couch. And then I'm like, what is this demanding? What is going on? So they said someone dialed 911 from this phone number and hung up. And just then we all looked at my 5-year-old little girl on the couch, and she's like, "Hi, Daddy." I'm like, "Can you please take me to jail now? Because after you leave," I said, "I'm going to commit a serious crime." I had to explain to them that I worked grave and that my ex-wife must have stepped out to run an errand. It was so embarrassing, but
Oh
at
my
the
gosh.
same time, that's one of those fun. But going back, there should be a 988 number. Um, they're still trying to get it working here in the States as well, and for Nevada. I will be posting though on my page the hotline numbers for help, and the hospitals around Las Vegas, that will you can call, you can go in anonymously. Can I say that right?
Yeah.
And so I'll have that on my page and post that. There's also, which kind of makes me think it should have been done a long time ago, but I'm glad it's being done now. They're starting to put programs in the schools, in middle schools, in
Mm-hmm.
elementaries as well, so that they can catch these kids early who are showing signs of depression or, just withdrawing from life.
Yeah.
The kids that you got to watch.
Yeah. Well, not last summer, I did a fundraiser. A young man committed suicide, and I did a fundraiser with a few friends of mine. And inside of 3 months, 4 months, we put this fundraiser together. It didn't make a whole lot of money, but the point was to make an awareness campaign. And I had so many people saying to me, "We don't talk about this." I said, "No, I know, but this should be talked about." Because I live in a small community. Well, not that small, but it's not a big city, right? And it should be talked about. And out of all I personally went on foot, I think, to every store, retailer in my neighborhood, and pretty much everybody gave a donation, whether it was cash or stuff or whatever. I only had one person say to me, "Well, you're not everybody's mother." And I was like, then it was like the Mama D and me kind of, "Excuse me." you know I was like, "Don't even go there, lady." And it's like, this may have helped this young man. These three numbers may have helped this young man. We'll never know, because there was a whole lot of other circumstances involved with that. But the thing is, It has to. You have to think of all the people that you can be saved by 3 numbers instead of having to dial 11 numbers.
Well, I think too another reason why people tend to back away. It's like you ever heard that story of the lady that was beat up by her husband, and then he set her on fire, and she went from house to house to house, banging on doors for someone to help her, and finally she died. Everybody heard her, but did not want to help her because they're afraid to take that responsibility.
Yeah,
It's like,
afraid to get
and the thing,
involved.
right, and the thing is,
Mm.
you don't have to carry the world on your shoulders. You're not going to save the world. You don't have to carry the world. It's just one little gesture, one little, 5 minutes of your time, or just to say something, record it anonymously. Why am I having problems with
You
this?
love that word, don't you?
Right,
Anonymously.
right. I'm going to be in the mirror
Mm.
later, anonymously.
There you
And
go.
but no one wants to take responsibility. Once we start stepping up and taking responsibility for
Yeah.
being, then things are going to start being done.
Yep. Exactly. People are afraid to get involved. I don't want to get involved. Dude, I get involved whether people like it or not. And I'm kind of a bully about it. Sweet bully, but I can be a bully about it, you know?
So I know Mitch, who is my husband, he's always telling me, you always know everybody. I make it my point to know everybody.
Yes,
I know what
exactly.
my neighbors are doing. I'm not a nosy neighbor, but I know who lives next door. I know who lives next door to them. I know
Hmm.
the doctor across the street. And I thought, oh, good, a doctor's moving in my neighborhood. My house value just went up. And
There
he's
you go.
Jewish on top. So,
Oh, that's funny.
oh no, the gay people and the Jewish people moved into the neighborhood. Everybody should be happy.
That's
And
right.
right, that's right. Um, but again, you don't have to carry the world on your shoulders to help.
Yeah.
And that's not just with suicide awareness, that's just with everything
Yep.
in life.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
believe.
You have to. It takes 2 minutes. And this woman, I never heard this story, but it takes what 2 minutes to pick up the phone, call 911. There's a woman running around banging on doors. Send the cops. That's all you have to do.
Right.
If the person
Yeah.
doesn't want to get involved for the net, like you said, this is happening. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Click, hang up the phone. But at least you took the initiative to allow somebody the chance to help somebody else. And the thing is, like, it's like where I work. Um, I used to have young kids who would come in and they would. It's a convenience store. Okay, like here goes a chocolate bar, there goes a bottle of Red Bull, or whatever. And one time, I 4 kids came in, and 3 did something foolish and 1 didn't. Well, when the parents were called, the one father said, "No, my son would never do that." I was like, "No, but he didn't. But the point is, he stood there and watched them do it. You play next to the dirt long enough, you're only going to end up getting dirty eventually. So
Right.
you have to step up. Everybody has to step up. You see somebody laying on the ground, how many people walk? I was watching a Facebook video. These 4 young men, um, excuse me, African American young men, were driving down a highway. I don't know what highway it was. They did a Facebook live for it, and there was this little white baby on the street. So they put in the middle of the highway. There was big trucks zooming past, cars zooming past. Nobody stopped. They stopped. They picked up this child. He was butt naked. I think all he had on was a diaper. One of them took off his big hoodie sweater, put it on. They called the cops. They're waiting for the cops. This whole time, he was a good 10 minutes minimum live. Nobody came looking for the child. And they were in the area that they were in was like a high class, high money value white neighborhood. And it was just so amazing that, the comment was, "Why you have a white baby?" Excuse me, we just saved this child's life. You know, these guys could have been like everybody else thinking, but they stopped. And that's what it does. That's all it does. Takes stop and takes a few minutes. Once you hand the baby over to the popo, they took off. There was nothing else for them to do. The police wanted nothing else to do.
That is hilarious. You
Yeah.
said purple, that's
The
hilarious.
popo. At least I didn't say poo poo.
Trying to
I
be
have a lot of police
but
in my wheelhouse, so I'm good. I can call them all kinds of names. They keep threatening me with handcuffs, and I keep going, okay,
There you go.
there you go.
There you go. But no, it's true, and it's sad that that's the first comment that came out was, "What are you doing with the white baby?" Really, you figure this is 2020 now. This isn't 1850 or 1860. It's sad that instead of saying, "Oh my God, thank you for saving this baby from getting run over,"
Yeah,
that's the first comment, and that's just ignorance.
yeah, it is.
You know,
And the thing is, it's around, and it shows. I mean, I'm married to a black man, and I actually had to deal with racism because of it. And I was like, really, seriously,
I
you
married
know,
a gay man, so I
you
have to
married a
deal.
gay man. Oh my
Well,
god.
right
Jeez.
now we know
Okay,
we're both
excuse me.
the
He
same.
lowered his standards, did he?
That's why I said I'm not gay. My husband is. What's wrong with you?
Exactly. That's
Right. Uh, it's none of your business.
it
But
doesn't matter. But some people will think one thing. It's like we were saying, how people don't talk about suicide because it's an unthinkable decision. It's something people don't want to talk about because, oh my God, then it's real. It's like when it used to be, a gay man or gay woman couldn't call themselves, put themselves out there because that was, again, another taboo subject. It's like, you do what? It's like, and I keep saying to all my friends, I'm gay. I like boys.
right,
Just don't tell my husband, okay?
right. Well, I always say, well, I got a lesbian haircut, so I'm really,
Oh,
I'm I know. Do you like that? I
we're,
saw
we're gonna
this
have to
lesbian with blonde hair with.
no, no blonde hair, no, no, because then you'll be a cheap tramp. Just little pictures on the top.
Wait a minute,
Not to all my blonde hair
I might
friends,
want
but
to
when
be.
they do that, sometimes,
But in all seriousness, coming back to our full circle here with this, anybody, please, if you're listening and or watching us, when you tune into this later, um, take 5 minutes to talk to someone.
mhm,
If you need to, absolutely reach out to someone, and you don't know where to go, contact me. If you're on my
same here.
Facebook, or contact me, contact Darlene. I would love to talk to you. I will take the time with you.
Yeah,
If you know someone who is in need and you're worried about them and you can't get them to talk, but you want to get them help, we're going to post
yeah,
numbers and
numbers
links
and
to get them help, so that and that's the little 5 steps we're talking about, doing something, and you can do it anonymously. I
yeah.
said it.
You
I
said it that time. Oh, yes, he's
so
got it.
proud.
He wrote
I
out
love
there.
it. I didn't stumble over it.
There you go.
But it is such a serious situation, and there should be no high statistics. Oh, here I go. Statistics with this, especially among the young kids. Again, 10 just floors me, because how bad can life be for a 10-year-old?
Unfortunately, it's all related. Brings it back to bullying. When they're that young, it's majority of it would be bullying. A lot of it is, some of it will be other things, how it's going at home or whatever, but the majority of it would be because of bullying.
Yeah.
Because
And
you know what? People, okay, kids, adults, everybody, humans can be cruel. Because here's the thing, you watch the animal kingdom, they don't pick on each other just because.
right. And you're right.
This is what we do as humans. That's what we do. It's like, oh, she's got red hair. I mean, I was harassed when I was a kid because here's the thing, this hair used to be like a red afro, natural red afro. I'll show you a picture one time. I'll see. I was huge. Okay. I used to get teased madly for that, and I was like, I would never fight for it because it wasn't worth my while. If I'm gonna fight for something, I'll have something because I was a tomboy. So if I'm gonna fight for something, I'm gonna fight something that's worth my energy. But y- bullying is the main thing. That's for that age. That's what it is.
And it's funny because I came out when I was 16, but I was never bullied for that when I was a kid. I was bullied because of the color of my skin, because I was a little Latin boy among all these, among all these white or Caucasian boys
Hmm.
in school, and it was never that. But I guess because of that, I got a tough skin and knew how to deal with it. But I've been lucky because no one has. I've never caught backflack for being gay, and I think because I carry myself in such a positive way
Yeah.
that I'm not sitting here with earrings on and half of my lipstick, and a bra. I did tell the
No,
girls
you.
I had a stomach ache the other day at work, and the girls that work were like, I was like, I got a pain. What size is your appendix on? And they were trying to look it up. I said, maybe my ovaries are hurting, and they fell out of their chairs laughing.
Oh, it's that time of the month, dear. Let
It's
me tell
that
you something.
probably was.
Guys get that time of the month, okay? You don't have to have a uterus to have a menstrual cycle.
Right.
It's you guys have it, dude.
And no, you really do. There is such a thing. Have you ever look it up? You can Google it. I think it's called menstruation,
Hey,
and
I believe. Why do you think it's called
men
menopause? We have to deal with you, man. I'm kidding.
menopause. Everything could be man now. Then I always well, no, we won't because we'll keep it clean this time. Um, and because if I said my parents are probably watching, so if I came out and said mangina, something like mangina on here, they probably fell out laughing. All you gotta
They'll be
do
like,
is
he did not say that with her. Yes, he did.
yeah,
He did. He said mangina.
I said
Mm.
mangina. So, but anyways, going back to it again with putting joking aside, this is a very serious subject. I do thank you so much again for bringing this to the table and bringing this out in the open. So, not only in Canada can you be aware, but we can also
Yes.
start awareness here and promote it. And again, one more time, I am going to be putting this on my page with links to hospitals, centers, and the hotlines. So that you can, do this anonymously. And Darlene is also going to be doing this.
Yep.
Mama D is going to be doing this in Canada as well. And please, 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 if you get a chance, go on Mama D's page, like her page, follow her because
Aw.
she is absolutely adorable and she is hilarious when her and
Oh,
George.
you're talking about getting over the hump on my Wednesday show.
I missed it. How did I miss it? I turned on my computer yesterday because I was going to watch it because if it was on what 9 o'clock your time.
It was 6 o'clock your time, and the only way I know that is because I call it George time, and you're in George time. So
Well, Mitch came home with a headache last night, so he took some aspirin and went and laid in the bed, and so got busy in the kitchen and had to unload my dishwasher. My
I think
job's.
I tagged you in the promo too for it as well. So
Oh my god! I'll have to rewatch it.
oh, it's
So
funny because I got George a couple of weeks back. I think you were there. We were talking about another show um that they do eating challenges, and the guys called Stirring the Pot. If you have a good sense of humor and an open mind, go listen to these guys. Stirring the Pot with Jay Lynch, Joe Kudo, and Jason Arthur. These guys are such boys, such boys. Okay, everything ends up revolving around sex in some way, shape, or form. Okay, but a few weeks back they ate dehydrated zebra tarantulas.
oh,
And
cool.
well, one of them's they're both petrified as spiders, so the difference again. Somebody has ordered for them 3 chocolate covered tarantulas. No, the tarantulas, scorpions. So they're gonna eat those, and they eat those live on the show.
Oh
Like,
my god! I think I saw them. They were on an episode of. They're YouTube people, aren't they?
no, they're Facebook, they're YouTube, they do everything.
Okay,
But
so they were on an episode of Undercover Boss.
no, they would love that. Oh my God, no. I don't know if Undercover Boss could handle those 3. No, I will connect you to Next Tuesday, I will get you into the show. You will listen to them, and they talk about all kinds of strange things, including frivolous lawsuits. And at the time, I said I was going to sue them because it made me laugh so hard I peed myself. But they said they have stock in the Depends company, so I'm like, okay, I can't sue them. Just free Depends. But we were talking on my show. We were talking about the different things that they eat, and one
Uh-huh.
of the guests in my chat room said you should have a bag of dicks. Eat.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I found them online. I ordered them and I sent them to George. Well, I sent them to his wife, and she hid them because she wasn't going to be home that day to give them to him because I want him to open them live on air. We were having this show last night, and I said, "Go look under your wife's pillow." He's like, "What?" I said, "Go," and he's like, and he's sitting there, and he's. It was you really, really, really have to have a good sense of humor with this guy. If people don't, then that's your choice. But he had tiny little gummy
Oh, the
penises.
little
Oh,
gummies. Oh, okay.
oh yeah, and he just kept eating them, and it was oh,
Why,
it was really,
why was I imagining these big old things in the bag?
no, not the big ones, little ones, but it's big.
You see where my mind goes? I'm thinking this big old grocery bag with things that are huge. It's like, oh,
Mm.
that's
No,
like
that I would if I'd have found those, I wouldn't. But no,
the size queen or anything. Doesn't matter. But those are probably easier to fit in your mouth. Anyways, um,
no, you're gonna watch this show. You're gonna die. You're gonna last night's show. You're gonna watch it. If anybody wants to watch it, go over. It's on Getting Over the Hump on Facebook. Just put
yeah,
Over the Hump, and you will see it. It's hysterical. I have to get something to sort of
you're
top
funny
next.
anyways. Well, you were so funny and you were so wonderful. Before we do close tonight, I do because you said you were on chapter 18. So
17, 17. I'm going to read
okay,
17.
so I got to give myself the plug. Don't forget, I'm the author of the CRONE. Okay, book one, and available. I look at she's got her copy. Yay! And so
See, look, I
it's
even got my bookmark going on.
Walmart.com. Do you guys have Walmart in Canada?
Yes, we do.
And so I'm at Walmart.com, BarnesNoble.com, I'm at Amazon.com. So again, when I say that I went global, I cannot believe it. I was like, I had to go to the websites and then go to translator on Google to find out which language it was in.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so it was just adding them up and adding them up. It was like, oh my goodness, my little book has gone everywhere.
But
My
the thing is,
little
it's not.
picture.
It's a little book, but it grabs you like nobody. And from the beginning, because I'm the type of person who, when I start to read, I have to read in spits and spurts because I start to get tired, and I'll yawn, and I'll just my eyes will kind of go all over. It's like, but this book is. I haven't been sleepy. I mean, I've actually been sleepy because I've been like, but my husband was driving me somewhere the other day. I went, okay, just driving. But I have to read with it because when you bounce, you have to read with it. And I was
I
like,
mean, well, of course, well, definitely. It took my husband 3 years to read the book. 3 years, because he said he's not a reader. I have the most non-reading friends in America. None
but
of
this
them are readers.
will grab you. This will grab you by the short hairs and hold you tight into the you. I put the book down and I want to sit there and read it more, but like it's like I want to give it. I need to give it the attention that it's good because
It's
your characters are like I'm in love with this.
so remind me what. Okay, you're on chapter. What's 17? Are they in the library?
17, 17 is the unlikely friendship. They're just going into the library. I think it's a library. They've met. Oh, the other woman's name. They had the history lesson. They were
Logan.
just finding out about Mama Clay.
Oh, okay. So they're already talking to Charlotte, the librarian.
Yeah, it's just the beginning of it.
So, did you ever watch Oprah at all? Remember
Yes.
when Oprah used to say that she had an Oprah aha moment?
Mhm.
So it's coming to the point. You're coming to a part in the book where Denny finally has an Oprah aha moment. And you'll get to that part. I won't blow it for you.
I'm going to get to that, and I'm going to message you. Ah!
What did you think about when she met Enid with Word
I thought that
Enid,
was wild. Where it was the mirror, and they looked. I was like,
Danny. Oh,
because I was like,
it's like her doppelganger
yep,
100 years ago. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. I mean, I'm curious as like did her dreams not wasn't her dream, but I call it a dream state where she saw what little girl was going through with the abuse, and I was like, oh my god, and I was like, these things, this book is so relatable. If you have an open mind about the paranormal and the spiritual read this. Read this will have you in your seat. If I didn't yawn, I could have had this done in 2 days. But then it has to be 2 days because I have to feed people in the house when they
The point that I was trying to make when Enid appears, when the blanket is taken off of the mirror, and
Mhm.
she comes through as a scary character at first, but it's almost that moment when they become face to face
Yeah.
and they realize they look the same, and they're identifying at that moment. You have someone from the paranormal world, you know, and someone from the reality world,
Yeah.
and they're staring at each other and they're realizing they're the same. That's when they make the comparison. So later on in the book, when Enid, touches her, holds her hand and takes her and shows her, this is what happened to me.
Yeah.
As she's becoming her friend, her guide, kind of,
Mhm.
because Denny also has that gift as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So that's
And
the
okay,
point.
my question is, why did you choose to make Denny a child with Down syndrome? I mean, I
So
think it's great. She fits perfectly, and it takes away from people thinking that okay, it's Down syndrome people can't do all this, but they can. So, but my question is to you. Okay, we're going to reverse this into an interview for me. Why did you choose a Down syndrome child?
well, you'll have to wait for book two. I mean, it's
Shaw,
no, 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 no. I'll tell you.
that's so
years
mean.
years ago, I worked with the Down syndrome kids, and
Hmm.
it was new and scary to me, but I fell in love with that community. I
Oh
fell
yeah,
in That is the truest form of affection, love, kindness, friendship that you will ever experience
oh
in
yeah,
your entire life. And it's a community because I've done research on it. You know, as close as 100 years ago, they were still being put into asylums
yep.
because um, doctors and nurses and medical professions didn't understand what was going on.
Hmm.
Now, in 2020 and 2019, they're beauty queens.
Yep.
Have you seen the beauty queen that won, I think, Miss North Carolina or something?
No, I haven't.
Down
Didn't
syndrome.
not get that much
Beautiful
information.
beauty queen with Down syndrome.
I
You're getting
will.
and get your tissues, and because
Hmm.
you're going to be crying. She is so cute, and they're actresses, they're
Yep.
congressmen, they're medical professions.
Yeah.
They have stepped up because it's a community that we don't acknowledge,
Exactly.
and it goes
Exactly.
under the hush hush carpet,
Yeah.
along with what we're talking about tonight with the suicide awareness. It gets pushed under the
Exactly.
carpet.
If they don't understand it, they just bury it. And there's a lot of communities like that. But
and
I
then
like the choices that you made there.
and then secondly, when you grow up a person of color, uh, growing up in my time, which was what, yesterday, last week, there weren't a lot of people to identify with.
Yeah.
I didn't see little boys that looked like I didn't see superheroes, that their taquito was their superpower.
Hmm.
You didn't see the being a Latin boy. You didn't see that, and so that didn't come out till later, like recently. Where you have now a little Disney princess, and you have the little
Hmm.
it's okay to be Latin, but you don't see a Down syndrome heroine. You don't see a Down syndrome superhero.
Yet.
I would
Yeah.
love to do that. I
You
would love
will.
to think that, and write a superhero with Down syndrome. And believe me, I've molded and molded over, in my mind a
Hmm.
million times. But it gives them, hopefully, this gives them someone to look up to because Denny is such a beloved character
She is.
and strong. But her uncle still treat her like she's the little baby, that
Mm-hmm.
they love and everything. And my little note before we say goodnight. So every chapter that I wrote, I sent it to my mom and dad so that they could read it. So I would get these phone calls at 4 o'clock in the morning telling me, "How dare you? You did not do this to such and such." I would be this long drawn out message.
Oh my God.
So funny. And but I grew up in a time where, remember Dynasty and all those
Mm-hmm.
other nighttime soaps where every week was a cliffhanger and every season was a cliffhanger. So I try to do this with this book to make every chapter a cliffhanger. I like doing the time jumps. I guess that's my thing with the
It's good.
time jumps. And so I tried doing it, and at the very end of the book, leaving a cliffhanger as well. So
Oh, that's it. Like, I'm gonna be angry, right? You're gonna have to send me every other book.
I've been offered. People have offered me money for the next book. I'm
Oh
like, okay,
gosh.
well, it's not published yet, so I can't do it.
No, you didn't know. But the thing is, here's the deal. I'll make a deal with you. When the book is published, you need to come on my show.
The second book.
In the second book, yeah. You
Okay.
need to come on my show. It'll
Okay.
still be done as a Facebook Live, probably. I don't know. I still sort of play whether I'm going to do it just radio or just or live like this.
Oh, I
But
would
I
love
want you on my show,
I'm your guy. You have me anytime you need
and nobody else gets the first preview of you and the new book.
me. Okay, I'll hold. Okay, well you. Oh, okay. So what we're gonna make a pact right now that it will be only exclusive to you first. Deal. You see that? Deal. Okay. This is as good as a handshake, because I was
It's
brought
even
up.
better because it's now public.
That's right. We have to record it.
If you don't, I'll call Judge Judy and have her review.
I had a lady send me a picture. It was so funny. In the morning, she sent me a picture of her, and it's just a photo of her on the couch. She's holding her book in one hand, her coffee in the other.
Oh
She's
yeah.
in her pajamas and slippers, and it's in the morning. She goes, "Look, I just got my book. I'm going to read it." And I said, "Okay." Well, I typed her back. I said, "Oh, I'm so glad. I hope you enjoy it. The scare's on me, blah, blah, blah."
Hmm.
So later on, we're watching TV. It's probably about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and my phone buzzes, and it was her. She's like, "I hate you so bad right now." She goes, "I've tried to put this thing down all day long." She goes,
Not
"And I
awesome.
got sucked in." She goes, "Do you know that I just finished the book?" And she goes, "I cannot put it." She goes, "I could not put it down." She
Hmm.
was like, moved from my spot all day. And I thought, oh, I'm okay, pat myself on the back. I must be doing
Hell
something.
yes. Oh yeah. No, this
And
this
then,
book is really good.
so Mama Clay was actually a real person.
Yes, you were saying.
Yeah.
I can't
So,
wait to find out a little bit more about her in the book, but
so if you pay attention to the clues,
yes, dear.
because if you pay attention to the clues, you will know exactly what book 2 is about. You will know what book 3 is about, and you'll know what book 4 is about.
Okay. I'm holding you to it.
Yeah. So all through the series, you you hate Mama Clay. You're scared of Mama Clay. The 4th book is her story,
Oh,
and
that's lovely.
so it's yeah, and it takes before she was born, how she was born, and all that other stuff. So we'll take it one book at a time. This book has got to have its
Well,
day, and
you
in
have my
1 month.
address. You have my address. When the book is published, you put it in the mail, suck it in the mail. When I get
Well,
it, I will read it and you will be
I'll make you a deal. I'll let you, because they're already written. I'll let you, because you got to come to Vegas though, and then I'll let you read I'll let
The
you read
PDF
all of it.
file? Hot diggity dog. Okay. But
You
first I have
gotta.
to get a passport. And
Oh,
then
okay. That's
and then pray the border will let me over.
right.
I
So
always
you
every time
have
people
a
say
green
they want me to
light.
come to the States, I always say they don't let me across the border. They don't like me. My pictures on the wall.
Right. I won't. I'll probably have to marry you something, and marry you, and then bring you over just for a little bit or something.
But wait a minute. That means I'll have two husbands. What am I? A polygamist?
Well, we won't say. We'll turn an eye just like everybody else. Mama D, I just adore you. I want you
Thank
to know
you.
that.
Thank
And
you.
from the day one, I've been a big fan of yours, and I will continue to always. Again, everybody that's going to see this later, please follow Mama. La, 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 la.
Send me a friend request. I'm not difficult. So long as you don't send me any personal pictures.
Right.
I've had only one. I've been lucky. I've only had one.
This is how I get over it, because they're like, "You want to see my boobs?" I'm like, "You want to see mine?" And then they go away. So it's like,
Well, I have a return. I have a return for those who send me that personal picture. I have something that I just
right.
somebody found it for us. It's nasty.
I
It's,
was in a cranky mood the other day, and this girl sent me the picture, and so I thought about it, and I'm smoking a cigarette outside, drinking my coffee, and I was like, "You should be ashamed of yourself. Does your mom and dad know that you do stuff like that?" I was like, the parent in me came out, and it's like I shamed her, and then I deleted her. I was like,
yeah.
okay,
Well, I actually had a woman send me a picture of her vajayjay, and I said, "Sorry, I don't eat oysters."
no. Why do they do that?
I
What
don't
are they?
know, and I don't know why anybody says, "I'm sorry," but it's not a turn on. I don't know
I,
if the guys think it's a turn on, but I don't think it's a turn on. It's like, yeah,
I
yeah.
know. Well, you know what? I know important. My husband is gonna find this out, but you get these people all the time that do that, and then also I've been approached for someone who wants to draw me nude. I don't even want to draw me nude. That's terrible. It's like no.
Well, that's why I had to put on my Facebook my info there. I am happily married. I'm not looking for a relationship because I'm too damn busy.
Right.
It's like seriously, if you want to be my friend, I'm good with that. But if you want something deep and lustful
Right.
I
Right.
haven't. I'm married. I can't be lustful after anybody. It's-
And I'm old now. If I took a picture of my private, mine's a lot lower than yours now these days. Yours is higher than mine. I'm not gonna.
oh my god.
But anyways, you've been a dream co-host today, and I look forward to our more future endeavors.
It will be fun.
And yeah, and so like I said, I'm your guy anytime that you want me. Say hi to George. Tell him that
I will.
this is real.
The porn stash.
I'm pulling on it. See,
Ow!
it's not fake, and then I trimmed it for you. You gotta let him know that I trimmed it for
Woohoo!
you.
I will tell him that.
You were special. He's probably gonna take that and run with it.
Damn
But
straight.
you were
I'm be talking about. We're gonna talk about this interview next week on getting over the hump. Saying I had an interview by a porn stash. Hello.
maybe I should just change that on my Facebook,
There you
pornstash.com.
go.
I know. Then
Hashtag porn stash.
right. And then I tried to shave it the other day because I get tired of looking at my mug every now and again. So I shave it, and then my lips are so big, it looks like I'm wearing those big plastic wax lips. I know, and then I look horrible, and I'm like, okay, that kind of only takes like 3 days to grow back. So 3 days to
Oh
grow
yeah.
back.
That's the thing about facial hair. It doesn't take long to grow back. I made the mistake of cutting my hair 3 years ago, and it's still not as long as it was when I cut it.
Oh, really?
So
Really?
yeah. So I don't.
Yeah. Well, I think eventually this is gonna end because I'm trying to grow it all out so I can get it all one length. So the other day I had to unpeel my dog from the wall because he was in my hairspray shot and he was in the back plate. And so poor dog. So with this, I do want to say again, thank you for coming and joining me. It's been a
Thank you
pleasure.
for having me.
It was my pleasure.
And
Um,
I will, once I finish the book, anybody wants to know, I will post something on my Facebook page exactly what I thought of it. I won't give away anything, but I'll tell you exactly what I thought of it.
Perfect.
So,
And I do thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
yeah.
Really, really glad you're enjoying it. But in closing, again, I will be posting the again for the suicide awareness. I will be posting the anonymous numbers for you folks so that they're at your fingertips. Again, if you need to talk, please contact us anytime.
Yeah.
I'm your
Reach
guided.
out to somebody.
Reach out. And again, if you don't have anybody to reach out to, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to Mama D. And in closing, I guess it's time for Mitchell to eat now. So we're going to go to dinner.
We're not going to have them starving any longer.
Not going to have him starving any longer. He's been patient. But I do want to close, see my regular closing. Again, it takes so little effort to be kind to each other.
It does. It's nothing.
Right. Please be kind to each other and be kind to yourselves.
Most
And
important.
yes, I will say good night. And to Canada and Mama D, I say good night. I love you. And
I love you.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.